We saw beyond our seeming these days of bloodied screaming, of children dying bloated out where the lilies floated, of men all noosed and dangling within the temple, strangling our guilt gray fungus growing. We knew and lied our knowing, deafened and unwilling. We aided in the killing, and now our souls lie broken, dry tablets without token. My guilt is slavery's chains. Too long the clang of iron falls down the years. This brother's sold, this sister's gone, is bitter wax lining my ears. My guilt made music with my tears. My crime is heroes, dead and gone. Dead Vesey, Turner, Gabriel, dead Malcolm, Marcus, Martin King. They fought too hard. They loved too well. My crime is I'm alive to tell. My sin is hanging from a tree. I do not scream, it makes me proud. I take to dying like a man. I do it to impress the crowd. My sin lies in not screaming loud.
My journey started at the age of 11 years old, and something extraordinary happened to me at that time, which set me on a course to change my life, actually, for the better. I saw great performances on Channel 13, and the documentary that was on at that time was Margot Fonteyn and Rudolf Nuria performing a classic work, Les Corsaires. And I was enthralled and mesmerized and couldn't believe what I was watching. And also to, listen, PBS was my escape channel because there were only 13 channels anyway. There were no internet, there was no Netflix, Hulu, or any of that. So, but I found great resource in PBS because I had a lot of interest in the arts. So once I viewed this program, I immediately saw something in Rudolf Nuria, though. There was something in him that I related to, and maybe his naturalness or definitely his beauty, presence, power. It just was magical to me. So I wanted to understand actually how to do that, how to dance like that. And so I said to my mother, who was in the next room, said, I want to dance. And she said, oh, really? Well, I'm glad. Well, good. Do you know what it takes? Are you willing to go to the edge? And she said something like, are you willing to take the plunge? And I was like, the plunge? What do I have to do? And I just basically said yes. I didn't understand all that she was asking me, but I understood that part. There was something that was just innately inside of me that I knew if I got the information, I could. So I then went to audition for the high school performing arts, and forgive me if I'm panting, because it's a lot to do, okay? So, so onward. I auditioned for the High School of Performing Arts, and the issue was that I was a hefty kid as well. Flexible, but hefty. And I didn't understand or know if they wanted to work with me, accept me, any of those things. But then when I arrived to the school on audition day, I saw dancers in tights and leotards and vocal majors, or those students who were interested in vocal training were doing their vocalese, and then I saw actors over there doing their monologues, and it was breathtaking. I thought I stepped into a dream, and it stepped into my own reality, right? So, but within that, I just said, oh, maybe I too can do this. And thus, I auditioned in my three-piece green suit and patent leather shoes, which one of the dancers, one of the senior members in the school said to me, listen, baby, that outfit, you look like Honey Coles. Yeah, and I didn't know who Honey Coles was at the time, great tap master. And I said, oh, well, thank you. I didn't understand, but he said, you have to have, some sweats or dance attire, and that's what I thought it was. So I didn't have any information. So he quickly gave me some sweatpants and a white T-shirt, and that's what I auditioned in. And I totally blanked on my first try through. They called A40. I'll never forget it. A40, A40, and I was standing there. A40. I didn't understand what was happening because I was lost in the idea of being at the school. I just seen Fame, the movie. I was mesmerized. I kept hearing my mother's voice saying, you know what it takes? Hearing Debbie Allen's voice saying, fame cost, and right here is where you start paying in sweat. I was like, oh my God, what? So when I heard my song, the Tom Tom Club, come on, there I was, like, I just burst out into flailing arms and any gymnastic step that I could give them, any sort of legs, anything. I was turning and spinning, and they were all laughing hysterically. The whole adjudicating panel were laughing, and I didn't really pay much more attention to that. I was like, I'm just going to do what I got to do right here. And then they called me to the table afterwards and said, listen, so who choreographed that? Again, I didn't know what choreography was, so I said, I'm not sure what you mean. And she said, who created that piece? The dance dean said to me. And I said, oh, I kind of built it. Basically, I built it right on the spot because I didn't really remember anything. So saying that to say that they said to me, long story short, is that I was sent a letter in the mail, and they said that they saw my enthusiasm, my passion, and though it was enthusiastic audition, that's what the word said, we saw your potential. And I was like, I, again, flailed around and jumped for joy at the house, but I really decided right then, I said, wow, this is going to be an opportunity, and I saw that opportunity, and thus having many, many great teachers in front of me and with me to guide me, not only through just pure classicism, just doing a simple tendu and knowing what that was, or making sure I knew what movement was coming from my inside out, and that's what I related to Rudolf Nureyev when I saw him. There was something that just permeated my soul, and thus, obviously, as the bio read, I've gone on and done a few things in the world, you know, and danced around the world. But the most beautiful thing, I would say, through all my trials to triumph, would be when I was at the Paris Opera dancing with Alvin Ailey, and I finished a piece called Treading, and it's a duet with a man and a woman. And I was called backstage, and I didn't understand what was happening. I thought Alvin Ailey was like, what did you do? I was super scared. And then I was summoned to the side of the stage at the Paris Opera, and there Rudolf Nureyev was sitting in his wheelchair. And he summoned me to come over to him, and I said, oh my God. So he said, Monsieur, formidable, you're an incredible dancer. Oh my God, where do you come from? And I said, Queens. New York. And then he said, I told him, I said, well, listen, thank you so much for your accolade. And he then said to me, for what are you thanking me for? And I told him that you were my inspiration. You were my lipo moment. You know, I identified with you. And thus, my world opened up for dance. And he just bowed to me in gratitude, and they wheeled him off, you know. But with that saying that I really am honored to continue to share dance with the world and do what I do. Thank you.